All right, so Bitcoin has broken above not just, the last lower high in this range where we were previously struggling, but it also broke above the value area low. I think this is a pretty good sign of strength. I mentioned that breaking this range bullishly and breaking the value area low, in my mind, makes the high of this larger range a target. And although things do look conflicting across, some of these midterm timeframes, I overall am still leaning that direction. I think right now, as it stands, this price action looks pretty strong. I think some of the bearishness that we were seeing previously when we were struggling in this range is beginning to be voided, although there are still definitely some divergences that I'm going to mention. So, wasting no time, let's get right into it. So, first off, based on price action alone, I think we are seeing, strength here. I think this aggressive move to the upside is a good sign of strength. Another good sign of strength would be closing a daily candle up where we're at. I think that would be a good look. So ideally, we don't see a massive dump within the next 52 minutes. But even on the midterm timeframes, I think us breaking above this high, which was a range high, this was a decision point range. We were testing a very key level, this value area low, which, as a recap to my higher time frame outlook, essentially, we have been ranging since all-time high, okay? This was previously the low of that range. Since all-time high, it kept moving down because we kept SFPing lower and lower. All right, we took out the low once again here. And as we came back up, we seemed to be struggling around this value area low. We ranged here once, got a little move above, but it was unsustainable. We fell back down below the value area low, tested it as resistance before continuing lower. And as we came back up to this value area low, we continued ranging here. And now keep in mind, this has been moving down slightly. At one point it was probably up here, then it was right here. So it keeps kind of slowly moving its way down. But in general, this zone has been the value area low the entire time. And it's been an area that really, since we SFP'd this larger range low, we've been struggling to reclaim. So I've been viewing this value area low as a very significant area. And I think reclaiming it opens the door to higher prices within this larger range that we've been trading in since all-time high. Now, at this point, we are in another range. This right now is a sideways range. So the next real, decision point within local price action, I think, will be this range high, and then so on and so forth for the rest of these significant levels. And right now, price has significantly broken this smaller range that we formed as we tried to get back above value area low again. We formed some bearish signs here. There were certainly some high time frame divergences. On the 4-hour, you can see what it looked like with this trigger wave here. But that 4-hour money flow was giving me a bit of hope. But, as you go down in time frames, those divergences didn't become more apparent. So that was kind of a sign of weakness that threw me off here. I was expecting, that there was a decent chance we continue ranging here. Maybe we rotate to the low end of the range, given the fact that we were seeing such bearish signs at such a key level. But Bitcoin decided that it was just going to truck up through that following FOMC yesterday. And we have gotten a significant move above this high. It was not just a very slight close above like we saw previously, which I would treat more as an SFP than as an actual break of structure. No, this is a significant move. And, on the 4-hour, we've closed candles way above this range and a lot higher than the value area low. And it's not the highest that we've closed 4-hour candles since this SFP back here, but we are approaching this high. So I like the way that price action is presenting itself. Let's take a look at Market Cipher and let's see what that is saying about this move. Is that, saying similar things? Is Market Cipher showing signs of strength, or is it showing signs of weakness, like, divergences or, hints that this move to the upside may be unsustainable? I don't know. Let's take a look. And the weekly has not changed at all. It looks exactly the same. We got that green dot down there, which is pretty nice. And, to recap, we've seen 3 green dots down below the 0 line. The first 2, they gave aggressive moves, but none of them were able to push us up towards all-time high every single time we put in a lower high. So could we break that pattern by putting in a higher high compared to the last high that we put in following a green dot? We will see. And the daily is definitely starting to look better. The thing that was kind of making me iffy about the daily was the money flow coming out, and this was backed up by like 4-hour and down divergences. So that definitely was a bearish sign that seems to have been invalidated by us putting in a higher high here. and we can see that money flow is trying to curve back to the upside, potentially looking to, make a very shallow, a very tight trigger wave in the money flow, making a higher low from back here. And momentum is looking strong. It is, showing a very aggressive move to the upside. You can see how this white part of the momentum wave is still widening, right? It's not looking like it's ready to clip off and print a red dot yet, showing that there's still room to the upside. And the VWAP also pointing to the upside is getting a little bit of, a curve over, right? Like this first push up from here to here was slightly more upwards pointing. Then from here to here, it is turning over a little bit, but we are not in any danger of printing a red dot until this VWAP comes all the way back down to the 0 line. So I think the daily is looking strong, definitely showing that there is potential for more upside. The 4 hour still technically has not voided the momentum divs. We have to get a very high momentum wave here to void this last div, but despite that, if we just X off this momentum wave here and ignore it, looking at, how money flow looks at the moment, looking at how momentum looks at the moment, they are both putting in higher highs. Momentum just got a very aggressive move to the upside. Money flow has been trucking to the upside this entire time, following this very nice curvature in the red. There is still the momentum div that we have to keep our eyes on, but despite that, this last development is looking good, and, the money flow on the 4 hour has looked bullish for a while. Now, we still do have a money flow div on the 3 hour. The 3 hour does look a lot weaker. Money flow did get a spike up recently as momentum turned to the upside, but it was not nearly as significant as on the 4 hour, or, maybe the move to the upside actually was just in the last little bit. Yeah, money flow really barely moved to the upside here, but it's been thick. It was not diverging, but here on the 3 hour, it is. And on the 2 hour, it's the same story. We still see that money flow div, and we even see a continuation of the momentum divs. We did continue the direction here. We did put in a local higher high, but still, if you ignore this one, we still have that direction to the downside with momentum and money flow. And here is where things start to get conflicting, right? So we have the double divs on the 2 hour and the 3 hour. We do not have the double divs on the 4 hour, only momentum. And the same is true with the 1 hour. Money flow on the 1 hour has actually put in a higher high compared to this wave back here. So, this looks really bullish. This is an aggressive push to the upside with money flow. And it is moving to the downside a little bit right now. Maybe it needs to cool off. Maybe price needs to retrace a little bit before continuation. We could see it just cool off and then continue later based on how, the 4 hour and the daily are looking. And maybe if we see this cool off and then turn back to the upside, that, could even cause the 2 hour and the 3 hour money flows to start getting more aggressive pushes to the upside. But regardless, right now money flow on the 1 hour looks really good. It put in a higher high with a very aggressive move here. So there are still conflicting signs. There are still divergences that we have to, look at and consider. However, I do still think that, I'm more leaning towards a move back up to this range high than I am us getting a significant move to the downside, losing value area low, and continuing lower from there. I think if we, get a move to the downside from those divergences, we, have a pretty good chance at putting in a higher low, maybe, somewhere higher than the value area low. Maybe we retrace all the way to it to hold it as support. Just based on us reclaiming such a key level, based on how price action looks at the moment, and based on the fact that I really have not found any significant resistance below the range high and above the 786, and we absolutely blasted through the 786, although we did have a bit of a reaction from there. It really just stalled out price before it blasted through. That may change. Maybe I'll find something hidden in here, or, some volume level that I'm missing. But overall, I am still certainly looking at this as a target, despite the divergences. I think those divergences could certainly continue as we see a move up to that area, and maybe we see some really bearish signs here, and then start retracing and, just continue what we've been doing, which is ranging in here. That's really my outlook. My plans are really, at the moment, I'm looking for longs, whether they're local longs. I did enter a little scalp long on Bitcoin locally, but if price starts retracing significantly, I'll be looking for support levels. I'll be looking for confirmations for longs. At the moment, I'm not really interested in shorting much until we get up to this high. So yeah, my bias is certainly to the long side, but that could potentially change if we, for example, start ranging, start seeing some really bearish signs in that range. In that case, I'll trade that price action for what it is. Like I may short the high end of the range to trade down to the low end. And if we break it down from there, then okay, well, I'll start looking at some more significant targets. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. That really helps to support my channel, and I appreciate it a ton. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting, and I will see you all in the next video.